Thank you so much for joining today in the Anthology of Enlightenment. And by now, we're entering into a state of enlightenment for sure, after all this light and purity and inspiration and all this. So it's, really beautiful. Also today, like there's Hafiz coming to visit us. And Hafiz, you see in the background, you see a mosaic that is in Shiraz, where he was born. In the memorial to him, his house, they call him the House of Hafiz. There's a mosaic, and it is exactly that. So that's the ceiling of it. Absolutely stunningly beautiful. And I thought, let's use that as a background. I did use it already a couple of times, but I really love the turquoise and all the other colors in it. So I love it as a background. It's really pretty. So the Masters of the Middle East is what we're looking at today. Hafiz, we continue deeply, you can say, revitalizing inspiration, peace and happiness thoughts from the Middle East instead of anything else. It's like, well, let's bring that to life. Why not? It's like, it's beautiful what is written. What Hafiz has written, has given to us, is absolutely stunningly beautiful in his very own poetic language, with his own symbols that he uses, and and beautiful depth to all of his writings. And it takes a moment to get into it, but when you do get into it, you see how beautiful it is, and that's just lovely. So today I'm using, say, Hafiz writings as they are translated into English. And with Hafiz it seems like a little bit easier than with Rumi, because Rumi has been translated so much in such different ways. But here with Hafiz, one way or another, it feels quieter in the sense of no disturbances. The purity is not too much diluted by the translators, you could say. You can feel that. Anyway, so we're going to use today one of his prayers as an introduction, as a meditation, and that's also very lovely. And yeah, how everything is coming to me, I can tell you this is like, it's very inspiring to see what comes into your consciousness as a possibility to give. That's abundant, like it is overloadingly beautiful. That's overwhelmingly beautiful. That's so incredible. So I really enjoyed preparing for this too, and felt inspiration to make a little video and some music for this, and so on and so forth. So you will see everything today. So for me it's more like, all the ingredients are ready, now let's put this together and make ourselves a huge beautiful meal out of this. It's how it feels to me. So I would say bon appetit, and let's get started. The gift. Now is the time to know that all you do is sacred. Now, why not consider a lasting truce with yourself and God? Now is the time to understand that all your ideas of right and wrong were just a child's training wheels to be laid aside, when you can finally live with veracity and love. My dear, please tell me, why do you still throw sticks at your heart and God? What is it in that sweet voice inside that incites you to fear? Now is the time to know that every thought and action is sacred. And this is the time for you to deeply compute the impossibility that there is anything but grace. Now is the season to know that everything you do is sacred.
Le cadeau. Poème. Méditation Hafiz. Il est temps de savoir que tout ce que vous faites est sacré. Maintenant, pourquoi ne pas envisager une trêve durable avec vous-même et Dieu? Il est temps de comprendre que toutes vos idées sur le bien et le mal n'étaient que les roues d'entraînement d'un enfant à mettre de côté quand tu pourras enfin vivre avec véracité et amour. Mon cher, dis-moi, pourquoi jettes-tu encore des bâtons sur ton cœur et sur Dieu? Qu'y a-t-il dans cette douce voix à l'intérieur qui vous incite à avoir peur? Il est temps de savoir que chaque pensée et chaque action sont sacrées. C'est le moment pour que vous puissiez calculer en profondeur l'impossibilité qu'il y ait quelque chose que la grâce. C'est le moment de savoir que tout ce que vous faites est sacré.
I love it. Beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining in the meditation, the Hafiz prayer, you could say. It was like I had my moment with Hafiz and suddenly I found this prayer and I'd like, oh, that is so perfect for the meditation. I love it so much. Thank you. And this is how it goes. It's like you just never know where it comes from. And the words that we shared here are, really like support. You know, it's like it's a meditation of support. You could say it's helping you to stand on your feet again, or complete reassurance in that sense. I love that. And so not all of the poems or prayers of Hafiz are this direct in expression. Like mostly it is in metaphors, like using expressions as the nightingale, the rose, wine, sweet wine, camels and donkeys. So you just never know, and you have to get into the language a little bit in order to, and we will do that, in order to see the complete bouquet of these beautiful poems. So that's basically the most I will share today are poems, because he wrote many poems, and it's literally like his language and his gift, and it was given him. Like nobody needs to be jealous at me, because this is a gift of God, and this is what I use. How beautiful is that? Celebrate with me. So that's what he shared. We'll see all of this, what I'm sharing with you now. So yeah, let's start with the facts. Where does Hafiz come from? And more of that. So here's a picture that you see many times of Hafiz. Hafiz, Muhammad Hafez Shirazi, Kaye Shams, Odin Mohammed. That's also how he's called. So anyway, there were a couple of names. I'm not sharing all of them. It's not necessary. So when was he here? He was born in 1325, so that's some time ago. And they passed on in 1390 in Shiraz. And that's very well kept. These dates are very sharp, so to speak, because it's in every Persian's memory. It's literally like that. So he was very popular, so to speak, and still is. Hafiz was a Persian lyric poet whose collection works are regarded by many Iranians as one of the most highest pinnacles of Persian literature. His works are often found in the homes of Persian speakers, who learn his poems by heart and use them as everyday proverbs and sayings. His life and poems have become the subject of much analysis, commentary and interpretation, influencing post-14th century Persian writing more than any other Persian author. Hafez is best known for his Divan, a collection of his surviving poems, probably compiled after his death. His works can be described as antinomian, and with the medieval use of the term theosophical. So you can say like it's metaphysical poetry. Hafez primarily wrote lyric poetry or ghazals. Ghazals are like the 14th century raps, you could say, the songs from the 14th century ghazals. According to one tradition, before meeting his self-chosen Sufi master, Haji Zain al-Attar, Hafez had been working in a bakery, delivering bread to a wealthy quarter of the town. And this is all happening then in Shiraz. There he first saw Shake Nabat, a woman of great beauty, to whom some of his poems are addressed. Ravished by her beauty, but knowing that his love for her would not be requited, he allegedly held his first mystic vigil in his desire to realize this union. Still, he encountered a being of surpassing beauty who identified himself as an angel, and his further attempts at union became mystic, a pursuit of spiritual union with the divine. At 60, he is said to have begun a Chela Nasini, a 40-day and 40-night vigil, by sitting in a circle that he had drawn for himself. On the 40th day, he once again met with Zain al-Attar on what is known to be their 40th anniversary, and was offered a cup of Shirazi wine. It was there where he is said to have attained cosmic consciousness. He hints at this episode in one of his verses, in which he advises the reader to attain clarity of mind by letting it sit for 40 days. Poetry. Now, so I'm using, I did this with the other masters too. It's like, okay, this is a bit of some of the gossip, you could say, and gossip and timeline ideas. Yeah, that's all right. That's perfectly. Now we know. Okay, yeah. In that time frame, he appeared to have been a poet. Now this poetry of him is coming to life many times, like everywhere. You see it still everywhere. So there's a lot of people using it in recitals, in songs, in all of this in the Persian culture and beyond, because his work is translated in some languages and is well available. So that's really beautiful if you want to dive into it. And that's what we're going to do today. So I want to start with one of the poems that was like, oh my God, that is so beautiful. I feel so much inspired to make some music and try to compose a video poem, a visual poetry, you could say, with music. So that's what I'm going to share with you right now. And so sit back and relax and let it happen. This is called Cast All Your Votes on Dancing. I'll translate it in French. So here we go. Cast all your votes for dancing. I know the voice of depression still calls to you. I know those habits that can ruin your life still send their invitations. But you are with a friend now and look so much stronger. You can stay that way and even bloom. Keep squeezing drops of the sun from your prayers and work and music, and from your companions' beautiful laughter. Keep squeezing drops of the sun. From the sacred hands and glance of your beloveds, and my dear, from the most insignificant movements of your own holy body. Learn to recognize the counterfeit coins that may buy you just a moment of pleasure but then drag you for days. Like a broken man behind a farting camel. You are with the friend now. Learn what actions of yours delight him, what actions of yours bring freedom and love. Whenever you say God's name, dear pilgrim, my ears wish my head was missing. So they could finally kiss each other and applaud all your nourishing wisdom. Oh, keep squeezing drops of the sun from your prayers and work and music, and from your companions' beautiful laughter. And from the most insignificant movements of your own holy body. Now, sweet one, be wise. Cast all your votes for dancing. Yeah, this is a great poem. I love it, and it's funny too with the camel, of course. Yeah, so seeing that the language is so direct in its expression, I love that. And here, there are not so many. Well, squeeze a drop out of the sun is of course symbolic. So it's like, what is that exactly? Like looking for the light. Like this is in fact what comes back in his poems a lot. It's like the desire for the intoxication of divine love, like looking for the love within, and diving into that and letting yourself be tempted by it, as in a relationship, like the metaphor of man and woman, or the attraction of something that is so beautiful that you can't stop yourself and forget about everything. Something like this is like there's a magnetism that is expressing and that is giving you like that, where you're, say, naturally, magnetically are attracted to. And this is like homecoming. You know, everyone has an idea about coming home, and that homecoming is not like a dry thing as walking along a path and suddenly you're home and knock on the door. No. So this has to do with your deepest, deepest, deepest desires, and that's exactly where this language is coming from. So it's really, really lovely. It's like it takes, this is what you recognize too, for sure, in your awakening. It's like, it is really allowing these deep feelings that you have to come up into your consciousness. Like, it is allowed to become overwhelming. It is allowed to become whatever it is. That's in fact what is occurring. So your tendency to control that or try to balance it can be lost completely, and suddenly you sink into something that seems like, oh my God, am I going crazy here, or am I going completely nuts, or what is this? Like, what is pulling me in this sense? Now, this losing that control, you could say, is a real important part in the awakening that is taking place in your consciousness. Like, how would you otherwise come anywhere if you don't allow that to come up? Like, why would you not want to allow that to be there? Because you think it's not good? Well, then you're still in your mind, still controlling it on a mental level. Of like, no, that's not good, that's not pure, that's not spiritual, that's not this and that. Like, no, no, no. None of that. Like, get drunk in that sense. Like, get drunk with divine wine. Get drunk with divine wine. Don't try to control it. Like, allow yourself to be pulled into anything, into your deep feelings for the divine, and see where you end up. Who knows? You're going to be taken away. You're going to be taken. Now let that occur. Why would you want to control that? No reason for it. So let's see what we have. Some poems here, and I got some symbols that I clarify to you just for the, in fact, learning the language. Go out through the door of the house of fate. That's human destiny, you say, human fate, with its shifting spheres, nor drink of the sky's black bowl. It kills its guest at the last. Take leave, let the dead bury the dead, in other words. Say, don't drink from the sky's black bowl. It kills its guest at the last. Tell those whose holding at length is no more than a fistful of dust. What need of these proud domes you rear to the sky? But as for you, you are Joseph, you are the moon of Canaan, the stewardship of Egypt is yours. So bid this prison goodbye. Hafiz, drink wine and be glad and reckless. Don't copy those who make reciting the book a cover for lies. And this is about the Quran. It's like the first 5 books of the Bible, you could say. That's the Quran. So go out the door of the house of fate with its shining, with its shifting spheres, nor drink of the sky's black bowl. It kills its guest at the last. Tell those whose holding at length is no more than a fistful of dust. What need of these proud domes you rear to the sky? But as for you, you are Joseph, you are the moon of Canaan. The stewardship of Egypt is yours, and so bid this prison goodbye. Hafiz, drink wine and be glad and reckless. Don't copy those who make reciting the book a cover for lies. Though you give me harsh words, bad names, God's blessings upon you. A bitter answer comes sweet on a sweet up. O my soul, receive this advice to a lucky learner. More than this, his own soul is the master's counsel. You have made a poem, Hafiz, and threaded pearls recited deftly, and on your verse heaven scattered the knot of the Pleiades. Don't let the world ills harm you, but accept whatever is dealt you. Unknit your brows, and we shall find no other way out. Free choice is not ours. Don't look to hold this tottering world to her bond. She is the withered hag of 1,000 bridegrooms. There is no faith in the smile of the rose. Lament and passionate nightingale, there is room for complaint. Why should poet Asters be jealous of Hafiz? To please by subtleties of speech is the gift of God. Okay, so that is one deep, you could say deep poem. Now you see, there's the nightingale in this, let me see, the impassioned nightingale. There's no faith in the smile of the rose. Lament and passionate nightingale, there's room for complaint. So the nightingale holds a prominent place, most notably in the poetic works of the great poet Hafez. In his poems, the nightingale frequently represents a spiritual seeker yearning for union with the divine. Now, the same as the wine that is almost in every poem, like wine in Hafez poetry symbolizes spiritual intoxication, divine love, and a means to challenge traditional social and religious norms. And this latter part is also interesting, like challenge traditional social and religious norms. Now, like this, I'm using this to go a little bit in depth in the poetry, and you will have to read it again. I'm not going through this to completely, say, detail the information that is in there, but just give you an idea of where to start, you could say. And so the nightingale represents the spiritual seeker. You'll see that. There will be more. There will be more poems with the nightingale, because that's kind of a nice symbol to use at this point here too. It's like you want to discover it. You know it's there. You have your experiences, and you want to explore more. So you're spiritually seeking in that sense, and finding, of course. So what is the next thing? The wine, like the intoxication of divine love. And you say, like, well, intoxication. It's like, well, look at it like this, and it makes perfect sense. If you look at it like this, is like, what does wine do? Like, it, in fact, say, intoxicates your senses, right? It's like you get wobbly, your nervous system goes a bit like woo-woo. And so this, I'm not saying that the divine love is doing the same thing, but one thing it does, which is the same, is in fact dissolving, say, perception with senses. So that is, in that sense, the same. So here it is easily used because it's like dance, wine, roses, nightingales, dust, and all these like basic symbols are of course ingredients of the country that that this is taking place in its origin, and that's, say, Persia. And Persia in 1300s, I couldn't tell you which countries would belong to it, because it is like a shape-shifting culture. It's like, yeah, there's no real border at all. So that's interesting too. Okay, so let's continue with one more of the poems, just to, since we got into it. So the Nightingale then represents the spiritual seeker, yearning for union with the divine. The wine is the spiritual of the divine love. Here we go. Singer, sweet singer, fresh notes true, fresh and afresh, and new, heart-gladdened wine thy lips imbrue, fresh and afresh, and new. Psyche, thy radiant feet I hail, flush with red wine the goblets pale, flush our pale cheeks to drunken you, fresh and afresh, and new. Then with thy love to toy with thee, rest thee, rest, where none can see, seek thy delight for kisses sue, fresh and new. Here round by thy life divine is twined, drink, for elsewhere what wine wilt find? Drink to her name, to her hours that flew, hours ever fresh and new. She that has stolen my heart from me, how does she wield her empery, paints and adorns and sends her too, fresh and afresh and new. Wind of the dawn that passes by, swift to the street of my very high, whispers the tale of Hafiz true, fresh and afresh and new. All right, so that's great. So there's a real rhythm to it. So here's one of the expressions too. The nightingale, with drops of his heart's blood, had nourished the red rose. Then came a wind, and catching at the boughs, in envious mood, 100 thorns about his heart entwined, like to the parrot crunching sugar. Good seemed the world to me, who could not stay the wind of death that swept my hopes away. Light of mine eyes and harvest of my heart, and mine at least in changeless memory. When he found it easy to depart, he left the harder pilgrimage to me. O camel driver, though the cordage start, for God's sake help me lift my fallen load, and pity be my comrade of the road. My face is seamed with dust, mine eyes are wet, of dust and tears the turquoise firmament needeth the bricks for joy's abode, and yet, alas and weeping, yet I make lament, because the moon her jealous glances set upon the bull-bent eyebrows of my moon. He sought a lodging in the grave too soon. I had not castled, and the time is gone. What shall I play upon the checkered floor? Of night and day death won the game forlorn, and careless now Hafiz can lose no more. See, you really have to get into it, and you have to study this a little bit in order to get to the depth of it, even though you can enjoy the poetic rhythm of it and the poetic structure, like in the symbols used in it. So this is how I use it today. I'm not going into depth into this, but say use it as a way to, a different way to look at everything, you could say. The Divan of Hafiz. From the garden of heaven a western breeze blows through the leaves of my garden of earth. With a love like a houri, I would take mine ease, and wine, bring me wine, the giver of mirth. Today the beggar may boast him a king. His banqueting hall is the ripening field, and his tent the shadow that soft clouds fling. A tale of April the meadows unfold, Ah, foolish for future credit to slave, and to leave the cash of the present untold. Build a fort with wine where thy heart may brave the assault of the world. Thy fortress falls. The relentless victor shall need from thy dust the bricks that repair its crumbling walls. Trust not the word of that foe in the fight. Shall the lamp of the synagogue lend its flame to set thy monastic torches alight? Drunken am I, yet place not my name in the book of doom, nor pass judgment on it. Who knows what the secret finger of fate upon his own white forehead has writ? And when the spirit of Hafiz has fled, follows his bier with a tribute of sighs, through the ocean of sin has clothed o'er his head, he may find a place in God's paradise. Eight. The rose has flushed red, the bed has burst, and drunk with joy is the nightingale. Hail, Sufis, lovers of wine, all hail, for wine is proclaimed to a world athirst. Like a rock your repentance seemed to you. Behold the marvel of that avail. Was your rock for a goblet has cleft it into. Bring wine for the king and the slave at the gate, alike for all in the banquet spread, and drunk and sober are warmed and fed. When the feast is done and the night grows late, the second door of the tavern gapes wide. The low and the mighty must bow the head 'neath the archway of life to meet what outside. Except I rode through affliction pass, none may reach the halt station of mirth. God's treaty, am I not Lord of earth? Man sealed with a sigh, ah yes, alas. Nor with is, nor is not, let thy mind contend. Rest assured all perfection of mortal birth in the great is not, at the last shall end. For Asaph's pomp and the steeds of wind and the speech of birds down the wind have fled, and he that was the Lord of them all is dead. Of his mastery nothing remains behind. Shoot not thy feathered arrow astray, a bow shot's length through the air it has spread, and then dropped down in the dusty way. But to thee, O Hafiz, to thee, O tongue, that speaks through the mouth of the slender reed, that thanks to thee when thy verses speed, from lip to lip and song thou hast sung. 9. O cupbearer, set my glass afire with the light of wine, O minstrel, sing. The world fulfilled my heart's desire, reflected with the goblet's ring. I see the glow of my love's red cheek, and scant of white, ye who fail to seek the pleasures that wine alone can bring. Let not the blandishment be checked, that slender beauty lavish on me, until in the grace of the cypress decked, my love shall come like a ruddy pine tree. He cannot perish whose heart doth hold. The life love breathes through my days are told. In the book of the world lives my constancy. But when the day of reckoning is here, I fancy little will be the gain that accrues to the sheikh for his lawful cheer, or to me for the draught forbidden I drain. The drunken eyes of my comrades shine, and I too, stretching my hand to the wine, on the neck of drunkenness loosened the rein. O wind, if thou passest the garden close of my heart's dear master, carry for me the message I sent to him, wind that blows. Wipe hast thou thrust from thy memory my hapless name. Breathe low in his ear. Knowest thou not that the day is near, when nor thou nor any shall think of me? If with tears, O Hafiz, thine eyes are wet, scatter them round thee like grain and snare. The bird of joy, when it comes to thy net, as the tulip shrinks from the cold night air, so shrank my heart and quailed in the shade. O songbird fortune, the toils are laid. When shall thy bright wings lie by night there? The heaven's green sea and the bark therein, the slender bark of the crescent moon, are lost in the bounty's radiant noon. Vizier and pilgrim, Baba Medin. 10. Singer, sweet singer, fresh notes true, fresh and afresh and new, heart-gladdening wine their lips imbrue, fresh and afresh and new. Saki, thy radiant feet I hail, flushed with red wine the goblets pale, flush our pale cheeks to drunken hue, fresh and afresh and new. Then with thy love to toy with thee, rest thee, rest, where none can see, seek thy delight for kisses sue, fresh and afresh and new. Here round thy life the wine is twined, drink, for elsewhere what wine wilt find? Drink to her name, to hours that flew, hours ever fresh and new. She that has stolen my heart from me, how does she wield her empery, paints and adorns and sends her too, fresh and new. Wind of the dawn that passes by, swift to the street of my fairy high, whispers the tale of Hafiz true, fresh and afresh and new. 11. Mirth, spring, to linger in a garden fair, what more is earth to give? All ye that wait, where's the cupbearer, the flagon where? When pleasant hours slip from the hand of fate, reckon each hour as a certain gain. Who seeks to know the end of mortal care, shall question his experience in vain. Thy fettered life hangs on a single thread, some comfort for thy present ills devise, but those that time may bring thou shalt not dread. What is of life an Irem's paradise? What meaning to our dreams and pomp convey, save that beside a mighty stream white fed, we sit and sing of wine and go our way? The modest and the merry shall be seen to boast their kinship with a single voice. There are no differences to choose between. Thou art but flattering thy soul with choice. Who knows the curtain's secret? Heaven is mute, and yet with him who holds the curtain enter. With him, O braggart, thou shalt raise dispute. Although his thrall shall miss the road and err, 'tis but to teach him wisdom through distress. Else pardon and compassionate mercy were but empty syllables and meaningless. The zealot thirsts for draughts of Kausar's wine, and Hafiz does an earthly cup prefer. But what between the two is God's design? 12. Where is my ruined life, and where's the fame of noble deeds? Look on my long-drawn road, and whence it came, and where it leads. Can drunkenness be linked to piety and good repute? Where's the preacher's holy monody? Where's the lute? From monkey's cell and lying garb released, O my heart of mine, there's the tavern vane, the tavern priest. Where's the wine? Past days of meeting, let the memory of you be sweet. Where are those glances fled, and where for me reproaches meet? His friend's bright face warms not the enemy. When love is done, where's the extinguished lamp that made night day? Where's the sun? Balm to mine eyes the dust, my head I bow upon the stair. Where shall I go? Where from thy presence? Thou art everywhere. Look not upon the dimple on her chin. Danger lurks there. Where wilt thou hide, O trembling heart, fleeing in such mad haste, where? To steadfastness and patience, friend, ask not if Hafiz keep. Patience and steadfastness I forgot, and where is sleep? 13. Lady that has mine heart within thy hand, thou heedst me not, and if thou turn thine ear unto the wise, thou shalt not understand. Behold, the fault is thine, our words were clear. For all the tumult in my drunken brain, praise God, who trieth not his slave in vain. Nor this world, nor the next shall make me fear. My weary heart eternal silence keeps. I know not who has slipped into my heart. Though I am silent, one within me weeps. My soul shall rend the painted veil apart. Where art thou, minstrel? Touch thy saddest strings, till clothed in music such a sorrow sings. My mournful story from thy zither sweeps. Lo, not at any time I lent mine ear to hearken the glories of the earth. Only thy beauty to mine ears was dear. Sleep that forsaken me, and from the birth of night till day I weave bright dreams of thee. Drunk with 100 nights of revelry, where's the tavern that sets forth such cheer? My heart, sad hermit, stains the cloister floor with drops of blood, the sweat of anguish dire. Ah, wash me clean, and over my body pour love's generous wine, the worshipper of fire. Have bowed them down and magnified my name, for in my heart there burns a living flame, transpiercing death's impenetrable door. What instrument through last night's silence rang? My life into lay the minstrel wove, and filled my brain with the sweet song he sang. It was the proclamation of thy love that shook the strings of life's most secret lyre. And still my breast heaves with last night's desire, for countless echoes from that music sprang. And ever since the time that Hafiz heard his lady's voice, as from a rocky hill reverberates the softly spoken word, so echoes of desire his bosom fill. Okay, so we continue with the last part of this, and that is the poem that came up to me to share. And so I had something that came with the idea of Nightingale, so that's what I'm going to share with you. It's a poem inspired by the work of Hafiz. Nightingale. poem inspired by the work of Hafiz. Flying through the garden of Hafiz is a beautiful bird. Its voice keeps you on a leash, while emotions are stirred. It is not in the colors or the shape. It is not in its size or the branch it sits on in the landscape. None of that makes your amazement rise. What it demonstrates is its hunger to catch a ray of the sun. When it does, it makes her look younger, and with that you feel at one. As if it enters a prayer, singing a song of grace, releasing fetters, iron layers. Time in ritenuto pace. No ear will hear this sound, no eye will see this bird. Your soul will recognize it is found. Your heart's rhythm is stirred. The nightingale is you, just as Hafiz's garden is paradise. Listen, your soul sings too, always for you to recognize. Will you take a moment, my love, to rest assured now, the descent of peace like a dove, for which all angels bow. This present time is sacred. It has no end or beginning. You share this secret, and you will only be winning. All right, everyone, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining today in this special edition, you could say, of Hafiz, the poetry of Hafiz, and try to express it in, say, some different ways and make it accessible, a little bit more accessible. And maybe it inspires you to read sometimes a poem of him, or you will meet it, or who knows what happens. But at least it was my pleasure to share it with you. And so thank you so much for being present here.